Hi all, so I am back again with another video of design pattern. Basically I am covering or starting a new series of design patterns of Java basically, and those design patterns are creational design patterns, structural design patterns and behavioral design patterns. So in creational design pattern I am taking the first design pattern, that is the most easy or most used or most simple design pattern, that is the singleton design pattern. If you have heard about it, and this is also the interview question also, that it has been asked in many of the interviews. So I will be taking this video or will be adding this video to my Java interview series, and apart from this I am starting a new design pattern series, so I will be adding this video to there also. So you can go any of there and you can watch it. It is very useful because as the point of interview perspective it is also useful, and for the like learning perspective of the design patterns it is also like very useful because it is the simple design pattern. And singleton design pattern is a creational design pattern, as I mentioned. So it ensures that a class has only one instance in the entire JVM and provides a global access point to that instance. Means like a singleton design pattern, what it says that it will provide you a single instance and it will be shared across among all the resources. Suppose for example you can say that singleton design pattern, you can follow, you are creating a single DB connection and it is shared among across multiple resources in your application. So that is the singleton design pattern, you are following it in your code. And for writing the clean code perspective and everything, you need to follow these design pattern. It is very useful, so that's why we uses the design pattern. Now the next is that singleton design pattern is used, as I mentioned, for shared resources, example configuration and logging, and controlling access to shared data also. Like for controlling the access, like you can define a global object singleton instance and it will be shared across all the resources. So that is the main point. And apart from this, like the ways, like how you can implement the singleton design pattern, there are two ways, that eager initialization and lazy initialization. So eager initialization is the that initialization of singleton design pattern, that object will be initialized as soon as the class is loaded into the memory, and JVM will like take care of making it as a thread safe, because before accessing the thread, the object is being created and it is like managed by the JVM, like how the thread is accessing it. So at the time a single thread is accessing, so this eager initialization is managed by the JVM for making it the thread safe. And lazy initialization is not the thread safe, because firstly it checks that lazy initialization, that the object is being not null. If it is not null, then only it will provide a new object. Otherwise, if the object is not null, then it will not provide the new object. Sorry, my mistake. If object is null or object is not been created, then only it will create an object. Otherwise it will object is already been created and it is not null, then it will not provide a new object. So that is lazy initialization. So in this video I will be just providing the singleton, how you can create your own singleton class. But in my further videos of upcoming this series, I will be providing like how you can break the singleton design pattern using reflection, serialization, cloning, how you can provide the double check locking, or how you can make it as a thread safe for lazy initialization in the singleton design pattern using the synchronize keyword, that I will follow, that I will be creating it. So just follow this series. It is very important from the point of the interview perspective also, and for the point of the like learning perspective. So let me start it. As I mentioned, I will be just creating a simple class of singleton class, and firstly I will be using the lazy initialization. There are two ways, as I mentioned, eager and lazy. So I am following the lazy initialization for creating the singleton class or singleton object of particular that class. So that object should be, first thing, that it will be static. So that static keyword, what it does, that it will share a single object, or single once the object is created, it will share across all the resources. A single copy will be shared. Private static singleton instance is the name for that particular object. As I mentioned, I am following that lazy initialization first. Then what we will be doing, we will be creating one private constructor of singleton, so that direct instantiation is not possible of that of this class. So that's why we are creating the constructor, and that is private, and just passing the simple statement. You can pass anything, but this is the important interview question, that interviewer asks to write a custom or your own singleton class, how you can create it. Okay. What happened? Singleton. Then we will be creating one public static method. so that it can be called with the help of the class name. That's why we are creating that static of singleton of the same class type, and method name I have given get instance. Okay, now we will, as I mentioned in lazy initialization, what we do, we just firstly checks if that particular instance is null, means if object is not being created, then only we will create the new object of that. What happened? And then in this method only we will just return the instance. So that's it. Static method is done. One private constructor is done. For direct instantiation it will not allow, and that one static variable we have defined, that is private, so that other class can't directly access it as it is private. And then we have the main class. Now we will create the object of it. Not using the new keyword, we can directly call that particular method for creating the object. Get instance, as we have made that static, so it will directly call it. Most of the guys, what they do, they just define their singleton class, but sometime interviewer asks like how you can prove that this is a singleton object or singleton class, that a single object is being created. As you can see, we are trying to create two objects, object 1 and object 2, and we are calling the singleton dot get instance in both the case. Now how we can prove it? There is a way to prove that if they point to the same memory location. For that we have the hash code method. So object 1 dot hash code if is equals to object 2 dot hash code. If both are equal, so singleton object is being created, we can mention. Okay, let me run this. See here, singleton class that from private constructor it is coming, and singleton object is being created. So let me revisit. For lazy initialization, what we have done, we have created one static or defined one static singleton. We have defined one singleton instance of private and static access modifier. Private so that another class can't access directly this instance, and static so that a single copy should be shared among across all it. And then we have the private constructor for so that direct instantiation is not possible for this class. And then we have the static method of public access modifier of get instance, and we are checking if the instance is not being created and it is being null, so then we are creating instance equals to new singleton. Then we are calling return instance, here we are returning it instance. And in the main method, what we are doing, we are creating two objects suppose, and for as the method is static, so for creating it we are just calling this singleton dot get instance in both the cases. And if object 1 dot hash code equals to object 2 dot hash code, so that if they point to the same memory location and a single object is being created, so that's why we have you written the singleton object is being created. So that is lazy initialization. And sometimes like if interviewer asks like you need to provide the eager initialization, so just nothing you need to do, just mention here only you need to create the singleton object, nothing else you need to do. Okay, and the thing what we are doing here, just need to comment out for eager initialization, as it every time it loaded into the memory. Okay, now we will run this program. Say the same thing is there, but the thing what we have done, we have just like initialize the every time the object is being created. It will not check whether the object is being created or not. How many times you are calling this class, thus it will create a new object. So the disadvantage of eager initialization is that memory wastage is there, because sometimes if the object is not being required, so every time this class is being loaded, the object will be created, and it will be thread safe as I mentioned, because JVM will allow that a single thread is accessing this that class, and before the thread access only this object is being getting created. And nothing we have done, we are returning the same instance every time. Same instance means every time the class is loaded, so that object is created, that we are returning it. So that's it in this lecture. I will be making more video as I mentioned for this singleton design pattern interview questions. for how we can break that. And that's it. Please like, share and subscribe my channel.